Robert.
Yeah.
Morning.
Just took another one. Got an extra one.
Yeah, that's fine. I think we had one minute.
Hey, how you doing, Robert?
I was like this, President, with this 322 number of full-time residents. Fred and I used to like to get the sheets on the number of people that were full-time, because it gives, there's a list of who's full-time residents.
Oh, okay.
And we go through, well, this one moved into a nursing home, this one's dead.
It's like going to a high school reunion. Huh?
Yeah, right, I'm serious, you pick up that sheet with all his names on it, and you start going down. Doesn't live here anymore.
Yeah.
Dead, so forth and so on.
Barbara Kay used to keep the most current one I ever saw. Barbara McKay.
Yeah.
I mean, hers is perfect. Book gone, and new, where they're from.
Yeah. I think she gets hers off the voting records, though.
No, I'm trying to make it quick. I love Googling these. Glad it told me that.
Hi, Ron.
Alright. Might hit 500 year-round residents.
Did you have any changes on that?
No, that's a couple of them I
It
question.
looks like it says 9 o'clock.
I try to figure out how
I would like to call the planning board meeting of July 30th, 2019 to order and ask for an adoption of the agenda.
make a motion.
Moved by John Hoffman,
And I'll second.
seconded by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
The next item would be the approval of the May minutes. Does anyone have any corrections? I saw none. We'll entertain a motion for approval of those
I'll
minutes.
move to adopt the minutes.
Moved by Joe,
Second.
seconded by John. Motion approved. Our third object, till we get into the meat, is the old business. I'd like to welcome those in the audience that are here. And we will be moving forward on chapters 9, 10, 11, and 12 with a final review by this board and approval of those that have no changes, and a rewrite and approval next time of if we do changes. We'll also try and do chapters 2 and 4. They're short, and I just don't think there will be too many changes to those. With that, I'll turn it over to you, Preston, and if you'll guide us through.
Okay, yeah, you should have received before our last meeting, which I believe was May, the 9, 10, 11, and 12. I had time to review it. If you had any comments, we could talk about any of the changes. If you'd like to look at any part of it, just let me know. We can pull it up and look at it. You should have gotten both a clean version and a version that showed the markups on it, so that you would know what was changing. I did receive an email from Joe Antonell with a few minor comments on it, nothing substantial. I think there was one reference on one of the items for a zip line, and that was something that came up during one of our public meetings, and there was no real place to put it, and I think I put a note in that one, but I don't think it ever really came about as anything that we needed to come up with a strategy or anything for.
You should have received one from me also.
Did I get one from you, an email?
Yeah.
Do you have them handy here? the chapters, do you have them handy printed?
Yeah, I can pull up any of them.
If we had one or two more quick comments or questions,
Sure.
we could add them.
Yeah.
Well, should we handle them one at a time? Let's go chapter 9 first.
Okay.
As anyone, Peter, do you have any questions on chapter
No,
9?
chapter 9 would look pretty good to me.
John?
There's one little thing, but I think it's just a matter of,
Oh, Bert,
remember this from
go ahead and
before.
bring it up.
I don't think
Do you
it
have
would make,
them here
I tried to figure out how else we would
printed?
write
Laura,
it.
with you?
Okay.
Oh, you do,
I saw
thanks.
no need for any changes on chapter 9.
Troy, what?
I saw no need for any chapters.
No.
Chapter 9 changes as written. Joe?
No, I don't have any changes. I just had a question on the strategy on the road washouts. It's not a question on the language, it's a question on whether we have any signage available to direct traffic to alternative exits in the event of mobile roads or road washouts.
Well, does that have to do with the long-range plan or the long-range goal?
It's just a
Or is
question
that operational
on the
things
strategy in the
that-
plan.
Operational things that we should be
I believe in the long range. Yeah, but they have signage.
Okay. I don't have a question on the chapter itself,
On chapter 9,
chapter 9.
I did have something more too, that whole paragraph right above the page number there. The current leadership, Beech Mountain Police
Which
Department.
page you on, John?
101, right above the page number. I think that whole paragraph should be stricken or changed or something.
Yeah, mine's not numbered, so.
What page was it?
Page 101.
226.
Look.
G2.
Well, wait a minute, no, it's what the book's gonna be.
Okay,
Yeah, the old comp plan is not gonna be current.
26.
We should be able to change from.
mine didn't down, I couldn't download mine. It was not your problem, it was a computer problem.
What chapter, what was the paragraph you're talking about?
It says right here on page 101 on this one, it says, the current leadership of Beech Mountain Police Department has defined it one of the major long-term, so forth and so on, and it says Police Captain Jerry Turbyfield, says the police department seems to be.
Yeah, that whole, you can see here on this, on the slide up on the thing, basically, police captain was all stricken out.
Yeah, okay,
That first couple of sentences was retained, and then,
that was it.
as the police department moves forward, it will be necessary to ensure that new officers adequately trained and experienced to replace officers that are nearing retirement. That was the only thing that was added to that paragraph.
Right,
The rest of
okay.
it was taken out.
That, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Robbie, anything on chapter 9? Motion for chapter 9 to go into the
Okay, good deal.
past column. Well, we'll get them all later. Let's go on to 10 then. Peter?
And let's see what I got here.
It goes this way.
Do you have any comments on 10, Peter?
No real comments. 19. Let's move on to somebody else. Let me
John?
find my notes here.
I don't think I had anything new and exciting on that.
I might.
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Has the reference to the zip line been taken out?
It has not.
We
Okay.
leaving it in as is?
No, it's going to come out.
Oh,
Yeah,
That was also on my list.
And under G1S8,
Look for opportunities to expand our tourism, pull beyond the winter season.
yeah, but I'm looking at the paragraph that begins with mountain biking. Okay. Oh, this was just a typographical, it's just a hyphenation of Beech Mountain is wrong, the fourth line down, it's not a big deal. It's Beech, B-M-O-U, and then it begins N-T-A-I-N, it's just a hyphenation issue. That's all. You may not be able to correct it the way it's printed there. You see what I'm saying?
No, where are you at?
Fourth line down under mountain biking.
And you're on
It's
the-
just a hyphenation of mountain, that's all, on the fourth
You're
line
in
down.
S8?
It's not a big deal. It says Beech, M-O-U, and then it begins the next line, N-T-A-I-N.
Okay, I see it.
It's just
Yeah.
it's just a typographical.
Yeah.
Let me look here, there was one other comment I had under G1S12. G1S12. Was that, okay, G1S12, facilitate groups to foster development and enhancement of Beech Mountain events. There's no description or anything under that. Was that intended to be completed or stand alone as is?
Let me see what it looked like before.
I was just curious if there was
Okay, that's
additional
one that-
description that was omitted, or is
Yeah, that was one that we added. It probably does need a paragraph or something of description there.
That's all I had on 10,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Robbie? On chapter 10, on page 2, under our economy, I had to move to strike out that word rewrite. It's just an added word,
Oh, yeah.
okay? And then the only other correction that hasn't been covered already, TEG1S11, target regional audiences on page 10, which is target regional audiences. I added for all seasons, and then it was or either all seasons or year-round. Just add that to it, and then add the metropolitan areas of Knoxville, Tri-Cities, and the Piedmont Triad. And we're just saying in here, we just had Atlanta, Charleston, Greenville. And I think we should
Yeah, that was
note that we have other regional marketing areas. And those were the only other ones I had. Peter?
Okay, and mine, that was one of the ones that I had, and on G1P3, under the pursuing of partnerships, I was thinking that we should add ASU in there. It's talking about Lees McRae.
Where was the reference to the Lees McRae on that? Oh, I've seen it. Okay, pursue partnerships with Lees McRae College.
I think we should
I
add.
think we should have.
See, ASU has already got things going on up here.
They're already in the wind farm
Yeah.
up here.
Yeah.
We've had other things with them over the years.
Well, where's that sentence at?
Okay. It's the fifth point down under your new economic opportunities. There you go.
All right.
Pursue partnerships with Lee's Valley, Craig College, and Appalachian State.
University, yes.
Or should we say pursue opportunities with local universities?
Well,
Well,
I would say local universities, the reason is because ETSU
yeah.
has,
ETSU has as many students over at skiing at night as
yeah, they have a pretty good bunch of stuff going on, yeah.
area universities.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be acceptable?
Well, why don't you leave Lee's McRae, I'm sorry, can I make a suggestion? Leave Lee's McRae and just add and other universities or colleges within the area, rather than try and name every specific one. Lee's McRae is obviously
Well,
right
I'm
here.
trying not to name any. I'm
Well,
trying to say area universities.
all right.
Eliminate all the others.
All right.
That wouldn't show any
that
favor.
That
makes
way it
sense.
doesn't show any.
Right.
All right, that makes sense.
And again, this is a long range, you know, who knows, some big guy doesn't come in and we wind up with a new name for,
I would agree with that.
I agree with you, just,
Yeah.
I mean, you got Western North Carolina.
well, it also shortens, you know.
Rather than
When
leave
you
them
sit down to
out.
read this whole thing, and you get in, I mean, you get into that recreation
It's a
thing,
lot.
it is not a long-range plan, it's a, hey, this is a glorified thing of what we are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
But that's,
good the way you said it.
okay, does that work for you, Preston?
Uh-huh.
All right. Anything else on chapter 10?
Nope.
Moving right along, chapter 11. Parks and Recreation. Ooh, I just slandered it. Peter?
Well, I'm just now getting to it. Go
All
ahead.
right, well, let me start out then, because I got my notes right here. And then overall, most of this chapter is a big ad, not a long-range vision. Vision is to stay on top, keep it strong and well-led. The vision is what I'm saying, is to stay on top, keep it strong and well-led. On page 2, I have a note here, it says rewrite, update the methodology survey, it's old news. On page 8, where is R.G1S3? I think we got an omission maybe, Preston.
Which one is it? Or
R.G1.S4. I'm not sure I understand that one. Oh,
Oh, I had the same comment. I was wondering why it's there. Improve support for town residents, is that the one you're talking about?
I think probably.
I don't disagree with it, I was just curious as to why we put it
Yeah, I mean,
there.
Yeah, I think that came out of a workshop that basically they felt like more emphasis should be placed on the residents of the town as opposed to visitors and tourists or whatever.
But the chapter's Parks, Recreation, and Trails,
Yeah,
chapter 11. So
Yeah.
I don't know that that belongs in there. It's just a statement.
it is.
Do we feel it should be placed somewhere else or eliminated?
It came about in our Parks and Rec meeting, that's why it came about in that, and I think it was focused towards Parks and Rec, or recreation opportunities. It may not say that specifically in that sentence, but that was the intent from, I believe, the discussion that I had.
I mean, my feeling about it is the whole plan is intended to provide a maximum level of service to all residents and visitors. It just doesn't seem that it really says anything or is something that's actionable. Certainly not within this context. It's not a bad statement, it's just, I think, misdirected or misplaced.
Okay.
That's my comment.
And that was on R. Let's see.
Our G1, S4. There is no S3. I don't understand what happened to it.
Oh, yeah, let's say, did S3 get taken out, or is that,
Huh?
did S3 get taken out?
If it was, then this is S3.
Yeah, it just needs to be renumbered, I believe. If we're keeping it, I mean, that's up to you guys if you want to put it on there or not.
All right, let's continue with whoever else has comments, and because I kind of have an overall suggestion for this whole chapter.
Let's hear it.
Go ahead, Peter.
Let's hear it, your suggestion.
I'm saying we send this back to whoever the committee that wrote it and say, hey, you got to get this thing more long-range goal-oriented and less of a big ad.
Who wrote that?
I don't have that list of who was assigned which chapter.
It's Sandy
Right.
Shawn himself.
I've got it somewhere.
Robert, you know?
I got it right here. Sean
It's
and,
Sean, Sandy, and myself. But Sandy's not here. That's the one that Sean came in and presented his plan that he had already, I guess, pushed through. And, you know,
Yeah, they had just
that's what we
updated their
left it
master
with,
plan.
Sean's master plan.
So you're saying we should go back and revamp that?
well, I think it needs to be written as a
As a long-range plan instead of
Beech Mountain comprehensive plan for what it needs to be looking like in 2030. You know, some long-range goals for it, not. Kind of like page 2, methodology survey. That's old news. We don't need that in
It's
there.
in Recreation, chapter 11. Which one?
Well, that was my suggestion. You want to share that? Help with rewriting that one?
Sure.
Give it to Preston. You still want on that one, please?
Sure.
Me and Robbie
Preston?
and
And
Sean.
and then, well, you know, when you do it, then I certainly include Sean because he was on the original part of it.
Right.
But just as kindly as we can say, this kind of needs to fit this mold, not a big press release on everything that we have.
Okay.
It needs to be more goal-oriented rather than,
You're advertising what we have and
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had a lot of things in there that, I had this quirky idea the other day, you know, we're always talking about bringing new things to Beech Mountain and adding to our recreation and our outdoor stuff. We've got a lot of trails out there. The hiking, of course, is a big thing here on Beech Mountain. Number 2 is biking, which has gotten huge. And number 3, we kind of shunned away, got out of for one reason or another, the four-wheelers that we're using our trails. Now, let's say we designated a trail for four-wheelers and one for bikes. So you wouldn't get pedestrian bikes and four-wheelers all caught up, and then you could add that to a recreation of Beech Mountain.
well, you probably learn some crossover of horses too.
Yeah, I mean, something to bring, but of course, you're gonna have to have horses.
Jan Elder used to ride all over the mountain.
Well, the horses,
But again, focus on recreation as, without getting into the specifics, but opportunities, multiple opportunities.
right, well, that's, I was trying to expand on
Yes.
other things that,
So, I think what we should do is take that chapter 11 right now and say, okay,
set
it's
to the
going back
side.
to, it's going
Okay.
back to committee.
Okay, because I've got all kinds
All
of
right,
stuff.
and then let's go on to chapter 12. As an example, Peter, page 11 talks about parking. You can strike that whole thing out. The problem was solved when we put the LZ in. LZ Road. That solved the parking problem.
Well, on your conclusion there too,
Yeah.
on your conclusion, you left out low temperatures.
Chapter 12, environmental sustainability. Is there anything on that?
I had a suggestion and a question.
Okay.
I didn't have much in terms of criticism on most of it, but ESG 4S1 revised tree ordinance. It's a good statement, but is there an action item of some sort? I was going to provide a recommendation of adding something like the town should offer a free resource to guide homeowners and property owners on types of native trees, shrubs, and flowers which would be best suited to our environment and enhance the beauty of our mountain. This talks about finding ways to protecting, ensuring, encouraging. I'm gonna make that suggestion. The town should offer a free resource to guide homeowners and property owners on types of natural trees, shrubs, and flowers which are best suited to our environment and will enhance and beautify our mountain. That's a suggestion.
Okay, wouldn't that be a way of, no, because it's revised tree ordinance. That actually would be, yeah, Preston, I see where it's going. You got to encourage planting and replanting of native tree species. I don't know how that fits under the tree ordinance as much as it would fit better under ESG 4S2. To encourage homeowners, you know, as ways of accomplishing.
Well, I'm trying to get an action statement in there.
How's the tree ordinance itself?
And I make that suggestion because nobody that I talk to, including myself, knows what the heck to do when it comes to doing any of these things. And I would imagine most property owners don't. We have excellent resources in the tree committee, and Mr. Hunter, and, but we don't have a resource for it.
I swear I recall the.
Unless there is, and we don't know how to
I
access it.
recall the tree
relying-
committee putting out a list of replacement.
We did, and we also talked about replanting. I think we're relying on the tree cutter to tell the property owner what to do. And in overtaxing our staff requirements, if you make an ordinance, you're gonna have to have somebody out there to enforce that ordinance.
Well, I'm not saying an
But I don't
ordinance.
think Joe's going. I think he's saying, hey, create the document that they can have.
Give them a resource, not an ordinance.
Yeah.
Provide the resource.
I agree.
that-
I just don't know that's a comprehensive plan statement. I think that's something we could do as staff, certainly. We could take it to the tree board and get something done.
Well, all right, well, this is what triggered my thinking about it.
Yeah, I think you're
So,
right. I think,
that's-
but I'm not sure that
But I have
that,
to agree totally with Preston on it. It's not really
the statement
That's a
might
method
be to develop resources for the residents or
Okay,
something.
I'm
Not
fine with,
specific, but that would give us a guideline to go forward with more resources
fine with you
for-
taking that into consideration, that
Well, that's-
it doesn't affect the chapter then. My second item was a question. ESG 5S2, promote the use of sustainable technology. Do we actually, it says remove regulation prohibiting green technology. Do we actually have a regulation that prohibits the use of green technologies that needs to be removed?
I wouldn't say in itself, no. I think there may be some challenges, and I think that's where they were coming from.
Because
It may be
this
more
is saying
difficult
remove
or-
the regulation
Yeah,
prohibiting.
There is a,
potentially, there are some, if you think about some of our land use practices, and, you know, if you go back to the old Carolina Caribbean ironclad building code, I don't think anybody could have a roof panel, you know, sunlight converter.
a solar
Yeah.
panel on the roof.
So there's, I think that's written because there's some potential for those to be in there. Robbie, you'd probably see it more than we would.
So
I don't see solar panels up there. I don't.
you wouldn't?
I said I don't see any currently.
We don't have regulations against solar panels, do we?
Well, I think there's some on the brick.
not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, maybe.
We don't have any aesthetic regulations, so I mean, as far as I know, unless there's some kind of strict covenant I know about, so.
Yeah, well, there's the architectural standards in the overlay district, but I don't know that they would address.
But as far as a good goal, it's a good goal to have in there and say, hey, make sure, that, you know, if there is something standing in the way that,
We better be careful about saying we're gonna remove them unless we know what they are and why we're gonna remove it, what it
Yeah.
is. We're talking about solar panels now, I don't know.
well,
If
that's just one
that's an
case, okay?
example.
Well, windmills is, you get into windmills and like, you're gonna create a whole lot more static with some people, especially the neighbors, than you are if the guy wants to put a solar panel up.
Well, sometimes,
But-
Mr. Chairman, what you need to do is, as far as ordinances, this is kind of a plan, you can put wording in there, you know, the comprehensive plan supports the, blending of ordinances allowing green technology.
I was gonna say, encourage the use of green technologies
Yeah.
or review, recommendations for green technologies, but we can't just say remove regulations.
Yeah, I would say,
Until we know what they are.
maybe remove regulatory barriers to green technology.
Review and remove.
Yeah, review and remove,
I think you better
Regulatory.
say modify.
modify.
Remove
Yeah.
too strong.
Removes is dropping, you're right.
Modify.
Review and modify.
Review and modify.
You use the example of windmills. If somebody puts a windmill on their house,
The thing about it
you
is,
may not like that.
what you guys are shooting for, you're shooting for, we're not trying to encourage solar farms up here, where you got half the mountain covered with solar panels. But if you got like, we're gonna have panels on these old works building with a water heater. I mean,
In some cases, it's appropriate, in others, it may not be. But I think if we modify it,
Well, it's figuring out the wording, right, Joe?
yeah, that's it.
Encourage the use of green technology where appropriate.
That's all I had on it.
We got into a big thing several years ago about wind turbines on houses and things like that. And it came down to the point that you may put one on your house, but it may bother your neighbor next door because the sound is next.
Yeah,
So there's
you did.
things that
I
you have
sent
to
him
look
one
into.
too, but it
Plus, it
wasn't
has to be
detailed.
above the tree line for it to effectively work. So you may have to put up quite a large tower.
That's what happened when ASU put those windmills up there. We lived in Woodland Meadows at the time. The people that were behind that in Woodland Meadows, when those windmills went up, those things weren't, making noise from the wind. And they made a big stink about it. Of course, it didn't go anywhere, but they do make some noise.
There's a new
Woodland
thing,
Meadows and or outside the city limits.
Yeah,
So
well,
we
and that has
have,
a.
we have no control over those two communities.
But my point is that you put up a windmill, it is going to disturb your neighbors.
right,
Well,
they're coming up with some new things too that are out there in the future about turbine type windmills. They're actually a cylinder. There's no blades on them. The air goes through them and it spins it.
And you don't know what technology is.
Right, we don't know what's gonna be down the road.
The next 10 years too, so you don't want to eliminate it because they might come up with something that's going to be better.
Right, well, right now, there are wind turbines which are, you mount to railings of different things which are very small, which create a lot of amperage that are used on boats and for camping and stuff, so you might want to think about that too, because they can just be mounted on a railing of a house that sits over the overlook that gets breezed 24 hours a day, and they can mount 10 of them. You're not going to hear a thing, but you might see something.
Well, they also make them for street lights, because I looked at it one time, and one time, you put them on top of an aerial light, and they generate enough electricity to run the aerial light.
I want to kind of bring this back into that this is long-range planning, not solving.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to totally stop conversation, but obviously it did. There was, that's the first page of that thing. There's a typo on it. Oh yeah, G4S1, revise and tree ordinance.
Oh, yeah, I did see that one.
Strike the and out of there.
Yeah,
All right.
I did see that.
And then, still in this chapter 12, on page 4, the strategy ESG1S3, the wording, when we use that term water loss, and I realize it's a touchy issue the last couple of weeks, we've got to get people to understand that we're not talking about water, we're talking about unaccounted water or water produced that we cannot account for. It's not all leaks. It's water that's not billed for, so therefore we can't account for it. But you can account, and when the people think it's all leaks, they go berserk. If they find out, well, wait a minute, there's 500,000 gallons a year used just for flushing hydrants. There's, I don't know how much is used just for washing out culverts. There's tons used for backflow. I know we try to account for the snowmaking, and those are all numbers, and I'm sure somewhere's, yeah, it's getting people to understand the term water loss is not all lost water. And I think this is a good place to define, maybe I'm wrong, it just happens to be a pet peeve, I guess, of mine. It's like, don't think it's just lost water. It's unaccounted for.
Well, is the definition of water loss the difference between what we're putting out and what we're actually accounting for in billing?
That's probably
Yeah.
the
So
way it
how
should
can,
be.
so what you're saying is that...
I'm saying change the term. Don't call it water loss, call
It's-
it unaccounted water. If you say water loss, I think you tipped the pail over and lost all of it.
We're saying water
Well, you're
loss
not
of
saying it.
59%. Unaccounted for water is 47%. And that's the category you're talking about, the unaccounted for?
Well, in this.
Flushing
in this-
leaks.
In this one, it says 59.19. on this page, but, you know, that,
Oh, you're
that
talking
thing
about up here.
fluctuates with this.
Estimated water loss here.
It's a little confusing, the way it's put there. We have an unaccounted for estimated water loss of 59%, and then we say the approximate unaccounted for water is 47%.
Okay.
What are we trying to say?
Yeah, I think this was the estimated water loss from the Rothrock study, and then this is the current water loss or unaccounted for water.
Oh, it was originally 59, now it's 47.
Yeah, that was what they had found in the 2011 study.
But the strategy is to continue to maintain and improve the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, we can take that out. I don't know that we even need that statement in there, but it was in there before. I think we just modified it.
Well, I would, if we leave it in there, I'd like to modify it so that it explains what all encompasses the term water loss.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Water loss
Maybe
was
the
huge.
percentages because they change.
Yeah, that
Changes
was
every
what I
month.
was thinking.
So why even put the percentages in?
They were there, okay? And they were continuing to show improvement. And then bang, the bomb drops last month.
Right, that's why I'm thinking,
Oh.
why even put them in there? I mean, because then we could go below that and sometimes, God willing.
Well, hopefully we do, and that's a good point. It's like, whoa.
Can it just be reworded without putting percentages? in?
Well, we could just say-
Unaccounted water loss is the best way.
Has an unacceptable percentage of unaccounted.
We don't need that in the long-range plan. What the long-range plan is, continue to maintain and improve the town's water utilities.
That should be unacceptable, I don't like that word. I don't like that.
All
word.
right.
You know, if we did,
Well-
if we did leave it in there, because this is supposed to be revised every so many years, over years' times, it's gonna show better and better and better. We're getting better there, or we're getting worse there.
But nobody's gonna know that from 5 years ago. I mean, if you put out a new plan with new percentages, nobody's gonna know it's getting better. They're just looking at that number that's staring them in the face. You get a new person up on Beech, they look at the comprehensive plan, they don't know what it was 5 years ago in the old comprehensive plan. They're just looking at that number. It was just a suggestion. I don't know why we need the number. Maybe have an ultimate goal. What do we want our percentage to be? And that's your long-term goal.
Be below the national average.
Well,
That's in the 30s somewhere.
Right, well, just put that, be below the national average. Don't even put
Yeah,
it.
then eliminate the whole first two sentences. It is recommended the town continue with that, and rewrite that to state that we would endeavor to get at or below an acceptable national average for unaccounted for water loss,
That's
Yeah.
good.
and leave out all
How's
the
that read
statistics.
to you, Preston?
Yeah, I think that would be fine.
I think that also helps it be more long-range plan oriented
Mhm.
or comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
And the goal, under the strategy, the goal is to, by 2030, be below the national loss average. Because that number changes all the time too.
I'm sure there's always going to be some percentage of unaccounted for water.
Well, yeah,
Do we have a way of actually measuring it
Sure.
without a study?
National average of 30%.
Oh, we do have, we can easily,
Well,
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
it's not easy.
No, but if you go the Summit tank and it's 11 feet 6 inches at 1 in the morning and you measure it at 4 and it's an 11.5, you've lost an inch. Okay.
Then you check what you build.
Is this being done?
Well, that's
This
just
is-
defined, that's.
We do
more-
monitor it.
Of course, we have to.
Well, it has alarms that go off wake somebody up if something's going down out of the norm.
Yeah, this is a pretty broad action item. I mean, there's a lot of components to it and variables.
Which is why you keep it simple in
Yeah,
the long-range
yeah.
comprehensive plan.
Recommended the town continue to repair and replace damaged components in a planned appropriate manner. This is a large-scale project that will be completed over an extended period of time and will follow the Rothrock Engineering's utility improvement
Well,
plan.
we're talking about striking all that.
Gentlemen, I think, yeah, the Rothrock thing, I think is so old now, it's been redone, I don't think you need to refer to that anymore.
Right.
And one other general thing on right here is the town is pursuing, a target, intake or water intake for additional water and or exploring wells. Cause I didn't see it come up anywhere else in there.
Maybe instead of just going into detail, other options for an additional alternative water resources.
I think you got it, I think you got it.
Okay.
Well, if the Rothrock
Anybody
study
else?
is old, strike it,
Well, it is.
get rid of it. That whole thing needs to be rewritten then.
Well, that's only that one section, everything else on it's okay. Nobody's. had
No,
any
just
other
that one
comments.
section, that's all.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying, I think we can go ahead with the corrections we just made to that. And basically, we're only throwing chapter 11 back to needing a whole lot of work. He's making these changes on the fly right now.
Well, I'm making myself notes to.
Yeah, I know, but it's. What else on chapter 12? Peter?
I didn't really see anything major.
Are you good? Are you good with it, Preston?
Yeah. I think everything we talked about is good.
All right. You want to take us on to chapters 2 and 4, initial review and comments?
Okay. Chapter 2, you should have got 2 versions of it, basically showing what changes were made, which were fairly minimal. We just noted that we reviewed the vision from our previous plan, and that through public meetings and that sort of thing, there was some slight rewording of some of the I guess bullet points for the vision, but that other than that, there wasn't any change.
Okay. Chapter 2. Peter? John? All right. Joe?
I have nothing more on it.
All right. Under proper planning, maintenance, and schedule improvements for the town infrastructure have resulted in a system of roads, water, and sewer that is top-notch. That's a blatant lie. At best, it's mediocre. I'd recommend that we say have resulted in a water system that is top-notch, except that's only dealing with the quality of the water, not the whole distribution of it. So, we could say by 2030, we would like it to be top-notch. But to say that it is now, and I think that was in there from before,
Yeah, well, I think
how the hell it got missed 5 years ago, I don't
Mr.
know.
Chair, I would make a suggestion, instead of just saying, that, you have the bold sentence, and then period, and then just say town leadership is dedicated to committing financial resources, and you know, that, just leave that, have resulted in a system of roads, water, and sewer that is top notch. That's an opinion. Just leave that out. The fact is, town leadership is dedicated to committing the financial resources necessary to assure meets future demands, budget, etc. I mean, you don't have to give an opinion about it being top notch, mediocre, or poor.
Mm-hmm.
Agree.
Yeah, leave that whole statement out.
Mission accomplished.
Just take the
Okay.
first sentence out.
Who else has anything on chapter 2? Anybody? Is it good to go?
Nothing more from me.
You're shaking your head, no.
Oh, no, I was just reading this up here. I'm saying, yeah, we're good to go.
Everybody else? Robbie?
Good to go.
Joe?
Good to go with that comment.
2, with the changes you've made, good to go. John?
There you go.
Chapter 4, sir.
All right, chapter 4, there weren't any changes to the text. The only changes that were made were the figures. So you only got one version of those, but basically you can look at these figures on the first page changed. The 322, approximately 5179, seasonal or second home residents, 2312, number of housing units. Those are all new figures. And then on the page 15, there's a new chart for building permits,
Nicely done.
which,
That reflects perfectly what's been going on.
yeah. And I think it went up to 2011 before, but we just
Yeah.
extended it out to 2018. So, other than that, there weren't any changes.
Can I ask a question about that chart?
Mm-hmm.
Does that specifically mean permits for new housing or new construction versus refurbishment and or
Yes.
reconstruction? Okay, so that is not included.
Yeah, that's just new house construction.
Doesn't surprise me.
John, any? Are you still reading it?
I'm just looking.
Preston, this is what I sent you. Email.
Talk about these or guys?
We talked about it, but I also given it to you in an email. Joe just handed me because he printed his copy.
Mm-hmm.
John and the whole group can do it. Let's
Chat
have
about.
No, it was just something for Peter for recreation.
All right, and hearing no further comments, is everyone comfortable with chapter 4?
Yes.
All right. Preston, that concludes the
Yeah,
initial review and comments, and I think we can move those right into, the only one we gotta go back and work on is 11. And I think that brings us up. Okay, 12 is up there. What about the transportation, Jim? I don't have any, chapter 7. What did we ever do?
chapter 7.
I don't have any notes on,
I don't remember when we did it.
we'll look and see if we have to bring that. What I'm driving at here is that, do you think it's time to set the public hearing or put the thing into text where we tell everybody they can go look at it and please comment on it for that public input session?
Yeah, what I'd
And
like
then
to
we'll be
do.
ready to take it to council?
is
Or do
get
we want to
a,
take it to council first or do them both at the same time?
well, we need to get I think the public input before we take it to council, because the council's going to adopt it, or hopefully adopt it. So what I'd like to do is come back with, next month with a complete, with all the chapters together, so you can see the whole document, because I need to update the table of contents. There's a couple of appendices I need to do, and then a cover.
And repage everything.
Yeah, and repage everything, so everything kind of lines up. And that'll, with the table of contents, I'll have to make sure that everything's right.
Does it work for?
And then, well, chapter 11, we're gonna have to take back to committee, so that's gonna take some time too.
Yeah, but we can have it all, but chapter 11.
Okay. We can do everything else.
And maybe we get chapter, do we want to do a special meeting in 3 weeks?
Or you wanna go
Do we want to
without,
ask for,
without chapter 11? Or,
No, to get chapter 11 done. I don't think
Okay.
chapter 11 is going to take that long to read.
Gotcha.
Well, it may, but
okay.
Just have a special meeting to
it's,
redo
well,
chapter
and
11.
you and Sean and Robbie and utilize the resources, you know, if you want. I mean, the best things I've done and some of the ones I've worked on, we sat out in the cafeteria here because we would have access to stuff we might need. And Preston and I worked on several of them with one other person or 2 other persons. I think Wendell sat in on one of them.
I think the rec committee meets on the 8th,
Well,
if you're gonna go to them, other than Sean.
Right. Well, Sean pretty much should be able to,
You would hope, yeah.
yeah.
well,
I don't think you have to go to the rest.
I don't
Yeah, I
either.
don't either.
I see no point in it. You got rec committee members right here.
All right.
If they have a question or they want one, but I mean, Sean's, this is the long-range goals for sure. Every one of those people on the committee has those down. It's not the day-to-day operations they're talking about.
And you've already solicited broad brush comments from the public in general.
Yep.
So you may not need to consider doing that.
Any other business to come before the planning board? Hearing nothing, entertain a motion. Yes,
I
Joe.
have a question. It's not other
Yes.
business. It's a question. We have all spent and continue to spend a lot of time reviewing the master plan and updating it, which is the process we're in, and revising it. We've done everything in that regard. My question is, do we have a process of monitoring and reporting back on results from the action items that are in the plan? Do we have something in place that actually monitors what's being done and reports on it, and in terms of what's been accomplished and what's yet to do? Is there a process established for that?
I don't know if there's a process, but I can tell you one thing. Jennifer Broderick had a list, about 2.5 pages, of accomplishments that fit within the last 6 years that had been done, that had to do with the comprehensive plan.
We do still have that.
We talked about putting that list in as an addendum. In an earlier meeting, we talked about.
Well, we've got that list because we just put it in the candidate package. But now, one thing I would say, that's more or less infrastructure and that kind of thing. I think what you're talking about, and they didn't do it before, the planning board should probably meet annually and say, let's look at the plan and what happened.
That's what I'm getting at.
But then that's not been done. But we've got a list of like things that were bought, things that were built, and that type of thing, and some programs, but mostly it's just basically infrastructure stuff. Is what the accomplishment is.
Yeah,
Well, planning
But we
board
can't do
and any candidate or existing council person.
Well, they usually get that stuff anyway, so we just put it in the candidate package.
Well,
I brought it up because in review and doing a little research, for example, well-run towns and municipalities, Colorado has steps for implementing, promoting, and monitoring their plan. And I'm going to pass this to you, Mr. Chairman, for just reference purposes. And I'm just curious if we felt we should put something more formal in place to do some of that. And some sort of, and it could be a subcommittee, or it could be the planning committee itself that just meets on that at some point. But that's just a suggestion and a question.
Yeah, I think
That's
the
pretty
planning
neat
board.
information. I'm going to ask Preston
Yeah, I'll take
to
that.
make copies of that and send them to each of us, just
It's
for
good
food for
reading.
thought, for reading, because I have a file folder at the house that, you know, just has some notes about, if you've done a project, if you keep some old notes in it, the next time it comes up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Robbie. I appreciate it.
Anything else, or? Joe?
Nothing else.
Okay. Robbie, any closing? John, any closing? Peter?
No.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by John Hoffman, second by Joe Antonelli. All in favor? Aye. Motion, meeting adjourned at 10. Was it 10 or 11? I can't even read it.
10.
Right at 10.
Ooh.
Y'all doing a great job.